Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in lime.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have La Bruja. So, La Bruja is August 2018's past of the month on creepypasta.wiki, and was done by Killahawk1. So you can check it out on creepypasta.wiki for as long as it's there.
It will be there.
Oh, it should be, yeah.
It has the right
okay, that's cool.
thing on it.
Yeah.
Way to date the episode.
It's coming out at the end of August.
Yeah, fair.
So we'll just kind of dive into this one then. So it's about a guy named Ricky. Well, it starts off with a guy named Ricky.
Mm-hmm. It's not really about him.
It's not really. Where he's just freaking out and like cursing up a storm because his story, his creepypastas have not been accepted to the submission of the site that he's posting them on.
How topical.
What?
I said, how topical.
Yeah. And so he's like, just freaking out. And then we get this narrator starts talking about him and like explaining that he's a overprivileged, like spoiled brat who thinks that his creepypastas are good, but in fact they are shit.
What age did you get out of this for this guy? Do you have a note on it or no?
I don't have a note on it particularly. I kind of just assumed late teens.
His age fluctuated a ton with me.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I was thinking like teenager, like somewhere in that teenager mode.
For me, it went from like 20s to like early teens down to like a 5-year-old back up to teens. Like I couldn't get a handle.
Yeah, I'm thinking teen is a safe bet. But yeah, so this narrator person explains that like he's being an asshole and he thinks that he's too smug for his own good and he doesn't take criticism well. So they are going to punish him and remind him of his roots because Ricky is Spanish or Latino of Mexican origin in his family line, and is going because he loves creepy stories. Well, here's a creepy ghost story for you from Mexico, and then we kind of get an explanation to like this thing that's going to visit him that night. And we get like kind of the details about it, and so it turns out in like older,
the origin.
Yeah, in the past of in Mexico, the cartels ruled.
In the pasta of Mexico?
In the past.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Yes. The cartels ruled Mexico with an iron fist, basically marauding across like different towns and stuff like that. And one town in particular was safe from these maraudings because it had the protection of.
Oh, I forgot to write that down.
I just like as soon as I started talking about it, I was like, oh shit, do you remember her name? They have the protection of the curandera, who is which if you look it up, it's a healer, like basically a folk healer. Mm-hmm. And she would protect the town and give like salves and advice and stuff like that. And one day, but like there were people plotting against her. Because of her good nature, essentially. So one day she went out to her property and like heard some like wailing because she heard some wailing, and there was a boy there with a bike and a cart that he was dragging with some kind of box on it, and he was like freaking out because like he had gotten like stung by something, and he wouldn't talk to the curandero.
As you check your notes to make sure you said that right.
To the curandera. And even like she was asking like, well, what happened, like boy, and he would not reply, like being very rude about it. So she used some salve to heal the swelling and stuff like that from the stings. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of got up and like left, like just like booked it, like gone to his bike and just like ran after that. Yeah. I was like, that entirely rude child. I'm gonna have to deal with him later, or teach him some manners. And then that night, curandera was her home was broken into by a bunch of men. She was tied up, gagged, so she couldn't hex them. Her wand was broken, and her medicine bag was removed from her, so she was completely defenseless magically. And she was brought on trial by the clergy, who was paid off by the cartels to be punished as a witch. Like, they were treating her as an evil witch, even though she was a good healer and protector of the town.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Yes. And it's that point, at some point during this like mob mentality, this mob trial, that the kid shows up again with a shit-eating grin on his face, and he gives a rucksack to the clergy, and the curandera is trialed as guilty, like she's going to be faced with death. So they bring her out to this this hole with a coffin. They throw her in.
It's a grave.
Yeah, a grave. Yeah, but there's a coffin in the grave.
Well, I know it's not just a hole; it's a grave.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. Yeah. And they throw her into the coffin, throw the coffin into the grave, and then throw the rucksack down into the coffin as well, right before they seal up the box, and then start shoveling dirt over it and stuff like that. And it's at that point that she discovers that what the kid was carrying in that cart and what was in the rucksack, which was in the cart, was a wasp's nest, like full of wasps. And so she just gets horribly stung as she's praying to the Holy Mother, praying for to the heavens, and no one's heeding her call. So she, in pain and anguish and rage, she calls forth another deity. She calls in Santa Muerta, basically the death lady from Mexico, and she gives her the power to be a witch, or a bruja.
Isn't she already a witch?
No, she was just a healer before.
Oh.
Bruja are evil witches.
For some reason, I thought she was always a witch.
No.
And this just made her witch.
She knew how to contact the other side, but she wasn't choosing the other side. She was choosing the heavens. She was actually a good a good benevolent person. But the town betraying her, and for all the stuff all the good she's done to the town, they still betrayed her and backstabbed her and treated her like an evil witch. So she in turn became the evil witch.
I thought she was always a witch, but a good witch. But then when she got buried, it's you know what? I'm just going to switch sides.
She technically was a good witch, but she was. They wouldn't call her a witch; they'd call her a healer, like a shaman.
She wasn't actually magical.
No, she was because she had salves and potions, or it was more like a natural.
That's
witch.
Science.
No, well,
it explains.
Is it science or magic?
It's both.
They're together.
It's primitive. Yeah, it's not primitive. It's traditional science and magic together. It's like healing salves. Natural magic, so earthly things that you can use and heal. It's basically early medicine.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the story about her, it says that there's this village that was outside of the realm of the cartels,
Which is where she lived.
because it was protected by
The curandera.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by getting rid of her, the cartels could move in.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why they wanted to get. That's why they paid off the kid. They paid off the clergy. They got the whole trial to make her a witch and evil and some of that. So yeah, she basically breaks out of her coffin as a monstrous creature.
I think before that, there's voices from the heavens or
No,
the sky.
not voices from the heavens. That's Santa Muerta tapping on her coffin on the outside.
Oh, that,
and
yeah.
telling us do you accept? Basically, it's deal with the devil kind of thing.
I meant after that, but yes.
No, there wasn't.
Well, no. After that, there was a huge booming.
Oh, that's her.
No, that's what I'm saying. After she makes a deal with Santa Muerte.
Yeah, the giant thorns burst out of the ground where her coffin was, and then she comes out as this monstrous witch bruja creature.
So essentially, I'm gonna fucking
and curses everybody a pox on you all and your families, and then she goes away, and then from moving forward, the town slowly starts dying because children start going.
Not that slowly. That night, that boy was gone.
That night, that kid is gone.
He had no time.
Yeah, but over time, the town starts dwindling and dying because the town's children are basically disappearing because La Bruja is taking them away. And then we kind of cut back to Ricky and our narrator, and the same thing's going to basically happen to Ricky.
Yeah.
And you may want to know what you may not. Oh, by the way, you may not be wondering who I am. Well, I'm no one of that's another story entirely. I'm just a servitor of my lady, and I think that's where the story ends. Is basically it's assumed that, or it's kind of presumed that the lady is going to tap on his window and get his attention, and do the thing that she does to entice the children to open up their window and get snatched.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of, at least it felt like it sort of ended on a note of don't be a spoiled brat.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's definitely a cautionary tale to it, as a lot of folklore stories tend to give you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creepy ghost stories in folklore are basically just cautionary tales for kids or for people. And yeah, that's definitely the case with La Bruja. Very much feels like that kind of situation. So, with that out of the way, we'll go into Everyone Expects the Grammar Inquisition, at this point anyway.
Totally.
So, bad grammar and punctuation. But I'm new to this site. Can't you just tell me what to fix or fix it yourself? Misspelled words. It's the way the characters speak. Poorly written and awkward sentences. English isn't my first language, so give me a chance. The story is not creepy. What do you mean it's not creepy? There's a fucking witch within this story. How's that not scary? So he'd probably have a conniption fit or write a nasty comment before our Grammar Inquisition segment even was over.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of this could be one of these stories.
Well, okay. Also, I really sided with him at that specific point.
I'm not gonna lie, I do actually mention, do I mention actually? No, I do mention, I thought I did. Yeah, actually, my first actual thought is, I kind of,
we'll get to it.
Yeah, okay.
If you want.
It just really just says that, my first part of that comment is just that, I kind of feel sorry for Ricky.
Yeah, because those are legitimate, grievances that he's bringing up. It's
but
like this because
the problem is,
it's not said in the story why, so that's why it's wrong.
And it is brought up a little bit later in this descriptor of him that he doesn't take criticism well at all.
Oh yeah,
and ignores it, and when it's actually good. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, what?
Oh, just the thing that, based on the quotes you had, I actually read some of the comments.
Yep.
And from what I've read, those snippets before he gives his commentary are actual notes on the site for different reasons why stories were deleted.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Well, yeah, because there's this huge quote saying, story deletion, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then those ones that he responded to were actual ones?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it actually kind of adds into the kind of a weird, it starts almost like a little bit of a meta thing about the whole deletion system.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's a too real situation, this writer actually did get turned down. It's okay, well, fuck. I'll make something better.
Yeah, and I mean, again, August 2018, pasta of the month. So at least a couple of people on the board liked it.
Yeah.
Or people that voted liked it. So, that is. Oh yeah, and then this is my next quote. That is my charge from my la dama, or my la dama. So I kept Google translating Spanish words in the story, but I did too. I didn't hate that to a degree, because I was learning from it. I was learning what the guy was saying at the beginning, where he was basically just cursing up a storm, and even my la dama is just my lady. Though I liked what they did later on in the story, during the folklore tale, where there was an English translation provided right after the dialogue that was in Spanish, or in Spanish.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think some of the early stuff might have been could have I would have been happy if it had been left. Actually, I can understand why some of the early stuff would be left as Spanish.
Yep.
Because it's cursing and vulgarity.
Yep.
That said, maybe just a quick descriptor of what the curandera is. I found out through Wikipedia that it was basically a Mexican healer.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what a Bruja is just through, again, like looking up folklore stuff and like looking up folkloric monsters. La Bruja is basically just an evil witch in Mexico.
What's the name for a good witch?
Curandera, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Probably. Yeah, like I just skimmed the wiki page when I looked up Curandera just to get like a base description of what that was. But yeah, it does describe her. It doesn't actually describe Curandera like it doesn't just like, straight up say like what a Curandera is, but it does say that in play. Like you kind of get the feeling that the Curandera is a healer of sorts because she is helping that child with healing salves and stuff like that, and she's been helping the town and stuff. So, yeah, I was initially like, it's like, okay, like why, like there's like I need to keep Google translating these, but then it kind of made sense because a lot of them were vulgar, and then later on in the story they do give us translations to some of them, so it's like take it or leave it. I was fine with it, like the fact that I was like jumping off the site off the story to go and Google translate things. So it's really just what I had for my comments in that one. Thou shalt not suffer the cries of a spoiled child. It's actually supposed to be shalt, like thou shalt not suffer the cries of a spoiled child. Yep, I believe.
Why is it actually quoted from something?
No, like thou shalt, thou shall. Actually, I don't think actually is a word. I think it's actually one of those words that people think is like an old timey word, heareth? But it's actually shalt.
Yeah.
Like thou shalt not,
okay.
Like it's not thou shall, because like they basically just people just like I guess mistakenly get rid of the T when they're trying to speak Old Englishy.
Yeah.
And then venom filled her blood, and her skin turned red as it swelled and burned. Quick nitpick here: I might use veins rather than blood. Like venom filled her veins. How does venom fill her blood? Like it mingles with her blood, it mixes with her blood.
That's the idea. Like it's taking over the consistency of blood with that.
Yeah, and I get that, and that's why I said like quick nitpick. Like I'd like it might make more sense if it was filled her veins, or like
saturated her blood.
Well, later on she says it's the venom was saturating her blood.
Oh,
it straight up says that.
Like, well, then yeah, it would be good to switch it up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You could temporarily take a seat in the nitpick nook for that. Yeah,
cool.
That's fine. I get it.
Okay.
I did say temporary.
Yeah. She would call out for Santa Muerta. Santa Muerta with UE, not EU. Easy spelling mistake. The only reason I bring it up, again, a little nitpick, is it's brought up immediately next sentence with the correct spelling.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So
I've read over them.
It's just an easy like misspelling because I've had it a couple times because I've used Muerta a couple times. Muerta means death in Spanish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I played Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I
know of her.
Okay.
She's actually like a prominent figure in that.
Yeah, I know, because I think there isn't like a cult or the cartels have a cult or something like that to her.
Pretty much like all the bad guys.
The death her, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one is her stings upon her. Her stings upon her skin were stretched until it tore from the swelling. I think it should be the stings upon her skin were stretched until it tore.
Was it stings?
Her stings. I just feel like it might
be hers now.
No, her stings upon her skin. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like the stings upon her skin.
Yeah.
The villager cowered when the low voice boomed from the cracks that spread out from the spot of the woman's unholy grave. I think it should say villagers, not villager.
Well, was it right before that? Was it specifically saying there was one guy that was looking over?
It was basically everybody was like there's the mob was still there.
Oh, okay, then yeah. Unless only one guy is afraid, the other ones are like, "Bring it!"
And that's my grammar inquisitions until we move forward. So, Mikey, he stands for evil.
All right, the first one that I have. I read it incorrectly, which made it hilarious.
Indeed.
And then I looked at it again, and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I thought I would share the hilarity.
Okay. Don't I hate when that happens?
Some have even gone as far as to say that his stories are so bad, looking at the words for too long will give you pink eye. One boy claimed, after being forced to listen from beginning to end, that...
Oh, that's how you read it?
Well, that's where I ended it, but then it goes on, Ricky's story gave him an ear infection.
But that's actually my second quote in my actual thoughts. Because my comment on that is, if true, there might actually be something more terrifying to Ricky's stories. Just saying.
That's true. It might be
there's actually some kind of virus in the words when he writes them, like a la Pontypool.
Yeah.
Again, you guys need to watch Pontypool.
Yeah, sure.
You guys mentioned it in one of the Patreon episodes.
Oh.
And I was like, you guys haven't seen Pontypool. We need to watch that.
No.
Oh, that's a Real Talk episode.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that gave me a laugh when I initially read it.
Yeah. One kid actually reported getting a pink eye. Getting an ear infection from listening to the reading of it.
And also in that same paragraph, there's a sentence that begins with and it's just 3 words, and believe me.
It's not much of a sentence.
No, it really isn't.
Yeah.
Like, that should be connected to the previous.
Mm-hmm. Or I think there'd be something like, and believe me, like something going forward. Like,
Yeah, or have
well,
a
it
comma
shouldn't start with
or
a
something.
and anyways. Believe me, this shit is real.
yeah.
Kind of thing.
The next one is a paragraph that begins with so, and I'm just realizing there's also a word issue in this sentence.
Okay.
So when the boy lays his head upon his pillow and closes his eyes to sleep, he will be unaware of the small leather pouch tucked every so carefully beneath him.
Oh.
Ever so carefully.
Yeah.
Also, is so at the start really a problem? Is that a front butt
I don't
situation?
think that's that bad as but or and. It's just another it's a transitional word for like sentences, but it's one that like sometimes gets a pass. Also, this is technically dialogue, to be fair.
Yeah,
That's true.
As far as being narrated by somebody, so.
Yeah.
But also, like, actually thinking about it, if you take so out of it, you get the exact same sentence.
That is true.
Yeah.
As well,
It doesn't
yeah.
really contribute to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this case, it's not too bad, but yeah, it could be removed as well.
Yeah.
I would accept that.
Yeah, and you're touching upon one of my issues with this story, which is it starts off with Ricky
Yeah,
and his sort of ideal, and it mixes
just
with the
cuts.
narrator,
Yeah.
and then back to Ricky, and then the narrator takes over.
Yeah.
And it's just...
I actually did, at first, I was actually, to bring this up, I initially thought that there was a past tense, present tense issue going on, and then I realized that we were actually being told a story by a narrator. Like,
Yeah.
Like, this isn't actually, it jumped from third person, because it's basically, the Ricky part is a vignette, like an intro vignette, and then the rest of the story is essentially a first person account.
It goes first person account from Ricky to narrator over Ricky in the third person. Then narrator talks about a first person perspective in the past.
Because they're basically like looking at the audience, like talking to them. Mm-hmm. Whereas Ricky's thing is more like internal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the story goes from internal like monologue to external monologue. And like basically, I kind of envision like the shadowy figure outside the window. It's like looking in and then looking to hi.
He doesn't know it yet. But
exactly like that.
Talking to no one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Or he has a camera guy there. Let's put this on YouTube.
Alright.
Yeah.
Next one. It pulled out its sharp tip and again jabbed the stinger back into her flesh, for the wasp can use their stingers over again. Shouldn't it be wasps can use their stingers?
The wasp can, or the wasp?
The wasps can use their stingers, because stingers is plural.
But each wasp has one stinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these wasps can use their stinger as much as they want.
Like, is wasp singular or plural?
Each
wasp is singular in the sentence.
You either have the wasp and stinger be singular, or you have the wasps and stingers be plural because of the whole, like, you're talking about that one specific wasp in this instance versus talking about the entire species as a whole.
Well, that's the idea of the entire species, right?
The way it is, it's both. There's one of the words is plural, the other one is singular. Or one of the words is singular, the second word is plural.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
So they have to be, they should be one or the other, not like the same, or not.
You shouldn't mix it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
The next one I have, which just made me shake my head. The insects crawled down her throat and into her ears.
Not at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Not at the same time. So I understand. Like after reading that, I understand what your issue is.
Yeah.
But damn it, Mikey, you truly are evil.
Two separate walks.
Perhaps a comma between throat and into her ears.
Yeah.
For some separation. For the nitpickers of us. Jesus.
Like, when I read that, I just envisioned an ear at the bottom of her throat.
Yeah.
Sure.
There was a sting in there and it just happened to like swell in the shape of an ear. So it's like, oh, that's an ear. I can go in that.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. And then there was silence.
Yeah.
Alright, next sentence begins with so. So that is the story of La Bruja.
That one.
That was the story of La Bruja.
Yeah, but at that point, I still think that. So that was. I think that so deserves to still be there because, like, it's like, and that, like, it's because it's the same thing. And that was the story. Like, it's like that is the case where you have that at the beginning of a sentence because you are done telling that story. You're about to go into a new story.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that one's okay.
Yeah. That is the instance where you're wrong. You're wrong and I hate you. Just joking, buddy. But I hate you. Well, no, he hates me. I'll never hate him.
Oh, I see.
I'll just be mildly irate.
Alright. And then I have another sentence that begins with so.
So what?
And I take offense to this. So listen to my words, little boy or little girl. I'm a Starfield.
Yeah, why did they reference you? That's so weird.
Again, that so kind of works too because it's. I mean, it doesn't have to be there.
Yeah.
But I feel like again, like it's one of those things again, like it's like so listen, boys, or like kind of like again, like transitioning kind of thing. But
you could just switch it to listen, child.
Yeah, I guess so. That one I will give you a pass. Like that one could go either way for me. But yeah, also,
this is a human story, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say for Mikey.
What would happen if wasps stung you anyways? They'd just be like, "Ooh, this is neat," and then just kind of go and explore. There's nothing to sting. I'm putting my hand right through your face right now. You're incorporeal, right? I just did it, so I hope so. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna swallow my hand in.
There's just this giant head across like in space suddenly. Yeah. God. Anyway, we are so stupid.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, no, again, like it's fitting for that story though. Like, but yeah.
And the last one that I have is in regards to this. Well, we've already touched on the going from different types of first person, third person.
Yeah. Yes.
And this one's just sigh, but I digress. And sigh is in brackets.
Brackets. That's how you usually
do
that.
But the thing is, that really nails home that there
this is dialogue.
A narrator,
and that this is actually dialogue the whole
time. It's not, which is
it's okay.
It's all dialogue. The entire thing is dialogue.
Well, no, the thing you have to get around this, Mikey, is that the first part. This is more or less like this is a narrative. Like, this is a constructed narrative of like we get a scene from somebody's point of view, and then we get the rest of the story from this other person's point of view, as they are telling us the story. Like, so we're getting a person, like an actual personality. We're not just like the first part is just like kind of to set up the scene of like Ricky being being angry and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we kind of break out from that scene to the basically the guy at the corner of the stage, explaining the narrative of the play we're about to watch. Kind of,
yeah.
It's kind of very almost like a screenplay kind of narrative. Mm-hmm. So it worked for me personally. For me, it works because it fits in that kind of like interesting, quirky narrative. Mm. But yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, gamer.
How else would you do sigh? Like in someone's spoken dialogue, how would you express that they sigh? Like, how do you type out?
Because you're and don't just say like I wouldn't have it, because like you need to sometimes have that sigh there, like for what's the word I'm trying to look for effect, like kind of like sigh for effect kind of thing.
How would you do that in spoken dialogue? Because there's no scene, there's no words ever of like narrator man sighed and then said this. Like, it's all in dialogue. So how would you actually type out the sound?
Yeah.
How do you type that out?
Well, I think the issue that I have is the whole transition between Ricky's story and Narrator Man's story.
Okay,
I didn't have a problem.
Yeah, the problem is the problem that I'm having with your problem is that
I thought your problem was the side problem.
That transition happened pages ago.
That's in the past, dude. You have to move on.
Like, it was again the introductory paragraph, like to kind of give us like a taste of like Ricky's like room, basically like inside Ricky's room without the context, without the narrator, and then the narrator jumped in. It's like and actually gave us the full story of what's going on.
This is why this is going to happen to this kid.
Yeah.
I thought the problem was
There's no there's no transitionary thing like after that. It's just, we're now the rest of the story is being told from our servitor of La Bruja.
Anyway,
okay,
yeah,
gamer and turquoise.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess it's my turn. So for my grammar-related discrepancies, I only have one.
Okay.
And it is super minor, so this is not going to take long. It's early on when he's discussing the him submitting a story to X website, probably creepypasta.wiki or whatever, and saying like this is what it says to him essentially. If you upload it again, you'll receive a 1-day ban from editing as per rules. Should be a 1-day ban.
Yeah.
Because I understand why they did it, because the next word is a vowel, but the vowel doesn't sound like a vowel, so you don't an it. And that's it.
Yeah, no, I must have like Taiwanese over that, because like, yeah, I don't remember. I did not remember that discrepancy. Mm-hmm. All right, that's it?
Yeah, I only got the one. The rest of it I just kind of read. Okay. I didn't notice anything else.
Cool. In that case, we'll go to actual thoughts then. I'll just jump into this then. His dark tales are capable of tapping into the primordial pools of terror buried deep within our subconscious minds. That's what he expected his readers to find from every one of his works, whereas you and I would see it for what it was. A juvenile, uninspired, boring piece of shit. Aww. Off the hop, I really kind of felt sorry for Ricky. Like, at first, and then dot, and then as I read, it became evident how much of a spoiled brat Ricky actually is, and how much of how hard he doesn't take or how hard he takes criticism.
Yeah, it kind of fluctuated with me.
And then my last comment on that quote was, "This is probably not going to end well for Ricky. Ricky is going to be—he's that guy in the creepypasta or in the horror movie."
Yeah.
And then update, he does get what's coming to him.
I don't know. For all we know, he could defeat the monster that's coming to kill him somehow.
Maybe.
Because it doesn't actually say what happens to him.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It's true. It kind of leaves it open-ended.
He's probably dead.
Yeah. Or at the very least taken away.
Yes.
And then this is the part where some people have claimed that they've gotten pink eye from reading the stories. Mm-hmm. And then Ricky, basically what I brought up earlier, if true, more terrifying. His stories are actually more terrifying than they should be.
Yeah. Well, and technically, As the paragraph goes on that I didn't really touch on.
Okay, yeah.
So, if his stories actually kill brain cells
In droves.
Yes.
then theoretically, all he has to do is keep posting them, because the same admins are reading this.
Oh my god, it's the Death Note but for brain cells.
And specifically for admins of creepypasta.wiki. Wow.
Wow.
Eventually, he'll get through.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but also at one point he does say, like, he doesn't think they're even reading his stuff. That they just see that he posts something and they automatically say no.
Yeah, but that's because
They might have been like, I feel dumber after reading that. I'm just going to stop all of his things now. He gets blocked forever.
Wow. Oh yeah, this part. So this is after, like, again, like this is around the time when, like, the clergy is given the burlap sack from the kid who basically portrays the Kurandera, the Kurandera, and she's, like, dropped into the coffin. We get the reveal of what the things are. It's like actually like wasps, basically, like crawling up her body and stuff. So the story, like, sets up that groundwork of the boy being like a backstabbing little brat working for the clergy and the cartels, technically. Mm-hmm. And like my first thought when I got to when we get the reveal of what was in that burlap sack and what was what the Kurandera was in for was like, oh, that nasty fucking brat. He deserves whatever's coming to him at the end of the story.
Oh yeah.
That little prick. And then the next quote is pretty graphic. Pain from the first sting exploded over her right cheek. The sharp stinger was stabbed. The sharp stinger was stabbed into her flesh. It tore through the skin and went as deep as it could. The wasp contracted its abdomen slightly, pumping its venom into its victim. It pulled out its sharp tip, and again jabbed the stinger back into her flesh. For the wasp can use their stinger over again. Even if they have exhausted their venom, they will not stop piercing your skin. Okay.
Pause for a second.
Yeah.
So that is singular. Wasp,
No.
wasp and stinger. Or did he read it wrong?
No, actually, I'm looking at it right now. There is no plural for stingers
Or wasps?
or wasps.
Well, I copied it, so
So did I.
someone just copied it wrong.
No.
I'll be the
Yeah. Okay. Check the.
I'll be the non-biased.
Like the wasp contracted the abdomen. Blah, blah. It's the part where like the wasp can use their stinger. Oh, okay. Never mind. Hang on. For the wasp can use their stingers over again.
Yep.
Now. Yeah, that
Wasp is not plural.
Yeah,
of
the wasp is
wasp.
for the wasp. For that wasp can use their stinger over. Yeah, it should be stinger over again. Okay, never mind.
Yep.
For the wasp can use their
Stingers over
I don't know.
again.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it is
stinger.
Yeah.
We're all hanging in the nitpick nook a
But
little
anyway,
too much
okay.
here.
So moving on to my actual thought about this whole like.
Oh right.
Yeah, not just the grammar inquisition or Nazism or whatever. Okay, so this story went from folkloric tale, genuinely interested, but admittedly not very creeped out at the very beginning. Then went into the origin of the obvious revenge ghost story. I felt really sad for the Kurandera and the betrayal that was afflicted upon her by the town and the kid and all that stuff. But then goes full-blown body horror with the wasps in the coffin. Like, I actually got a shiver a little bit, like, down my spine as I was reading the story at this part. Because it was like, because it was, like, piercing her eye and her cheek.
Yeah,
and
the eye's the worst.
And, like, oh, God, it was just so, like, good body horror descriptions.
When you think about the cheek one,
It still fucking hurt, man.
it probably went through the cheek. I was going to say,
Yeah.
like, if it actually... Or it didn't go through.
Depends on how big those wasps are. Because, like, some Mexican wasps can be pretty big.
Because, yeah, if it went actually all the way through, it'd just be dumping venom onto her tongue.
Yeah.
Or on her
Which
teeth.
would be
It's like,
burning.
ah!
Yeah, it would be burning too, yeah.
I don't know if it would burn. It's not acid.
It still, like, would cause some kind of reaction.
Oh, yeah. It would not be nice, but it's not like...
I don't mean burn as in, like, dissolve.
It's not-
I mean,
it's
it would
not
be burning, it would be
xenomorph
like-
blood.
Yeah, no, I don't mean like that, but I mean it would be burning. Like, you get a burning sensation.
it would not be nice regardless.
Yeah, so I did like how like the story like started off like kind of as like I see folklore tale because it felt very much like a folklore tale that I've like not that I've heard before, but it felt much in that tradition of like a folk tale or of a ghost story like from an older time.
Yeah, and I appreciate how
and it was a very
dangerous and horrible these small yellow insects are,
of
and how like they're harnessing the power of yellow to destroy.
Sure.
Yeah. They did good.
Yeah, so just good job on the whole body horror thing, like because like the story was like setting up all this groundwork for like this betrayal and like tragic story, and then goes full body horror with like the wasp. Like those fucking cartels, like the clergy guy did not have to do that. The burying alive was bad enough.
Yeah,
that was literally adding salt onto the wound or venom onto the wound,
adding wasps onto the body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
And then my last actual thought quote is. And who am I? Well, let's just say that I'm someone who is familiar with matters such as these. But that is a story for another time. However, I will tell you this. I'm neither angel or demon, but I do perform God's will. Okay, so before the God's will part, and yet maybe still, I feel like the servitor, narrator, familiar, is the original boy that betrayed the Bruja and was taken. And now he serves her as a like a servitor,
maybe
as like a servitor spirit or like some kind of like he's now like doing her like as punishment. He's now doing her will, like finding these brats or these disrespectful youths and bringing her to them, like to direct her anger and rage against them.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like my idea, or just kind of like food for thought when I came up with it. I was like. His familiar is specifically put in quotes, so it's like, okay, so he's the familiar of the Bruja.
Or he's so familiar with this that it's actually happened to him.
Yeah, like, exactly, like that. So, like, he's both familiar with the whole setting, and he is now the familiar of the witch, because witches, across folklore, tend to have a familiar companion.
Yeah.
Whether it be a cat or an animal of some kind, like a goat or something.
It doesn't even say that this is a dude. This could be a cat talking all throwing
exactly.
out.
This could be like Salem style, or like Zachary Binks from Hocus Pocus, where they're just like it's just like a little black cat on the outside the window, like, and then like turns to the camera.
Yeah.
Full 100, or it could be an owl, just 100.
Yeah, that's less weird because that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Later on after that, it says something about, like, I'm an agent of order, like, I bring chaos or whatever.
Yeah, that was the part that was like, okay, after, like...
He almost seemed like Loki a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, I wonder if, also, like, the other thing that came to mind is, like, I wonder if, because this author, Killahawk 1, has a lot of stories in their catalog. So I'm wondering if maybe this is another... There is actually another story written about this character.
Maybe.
But I also like the idea to think that like this is actually the original child that backstabbed her, and now this is his punishment as basically being like a familiar spirit to her or something like that. But that's my actual thoughts until we hit final thoughts. So Mikey, these stands for you.
All right. The first quote I have for the actual thought that we haven't already touched on is 3 days later, the traitorous boy helped by the curandera disappeared without a trace. At which point, I'm thinking to myself, how exactly was the kid traitorous? Because of well, we don't know his motives from the get-go.
Doesn't matter. His actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Or motives.
But he's not on her side to begin with, so how can he be a traitor?
She helped him when he got stung. And he backstabbed, and he like betrayed her trust in like helping, or basically he betrayed her good faith by betraying her to the cartels.
What he's saying is
the tool that caused her to give him so much pain.
What he's saying is that there's nothing in the story that says that they have ever been friends.
No, and traitors doesn't mean that you like have to know somebody to be a traitor.
Oh, I don't even mean directly no. I mean there any goodwill at all towards each other.
Yeah, he completely betrayed her goodwill of her helping him with those sting wounds by giving the bad men the means of her own like pain and like suffering.
And considering the age of this child, and this is probably the only healer in the village, from the sounds of it, odds are she has helped that child and that child's family
multiple times. Yeah, like, and even like, not just like you're wrong. Like, you're wrong, and I hate you. I don't mean that, but like just like bring it up. Like when she's like standing there like on trial, like on the podium or whatever. Is there like a stage or something like that?
It doesn't. I imagined an executioner stage with a noose, but that never happened.
Yeah, it is. So, they pulled her away from that.
Essentially, they pulled her out of the room, and then just like everyone was there. It's like, we're gonna kill her, and everyone's like,
and she was like, she stared off and like looked at all the people that all the people in town that she had helped.
Yes,
were suddenly against her because the clergy said she was evil. I was just like, such a it really like everyone in this town is traitorous to her because they betrayed her goodwill.
You're lucky that you don't live back in that time right now, Mikey, because you would just be dead. You openly claim to be evil. It's part of your name.
Well, I mean,
you wouldn't be here with us right now. You'd just be dead.
I mean,
or banished.
I was gonna say he'd just leave.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
You can't really kill him, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It's like, fuck you guys. I'm going home. Just like the bird just vanishes.
Yo.
But yeah, like, sorry, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep countering your points. Like, I just feel like I've been like just like pushing it. So
extremely harsh on him.
Yeah, but no, it's from the standpoint of like we don't know if they're friends or not. Like, yeah, traitors doesn't work, but traitors as the word for this still works. So. Sorry.
Considering as soon as you started saying that, me and the cultists looked at each other like, seriously? What the fuck's this guy talking about?
Yeah. But go on.
You're open to your opinion, but we don't share that opinion, so we'll have to agree to disagree. Moving on.
Yes.
Thank you, Cameron White.
Thank you. Or you're welcome, rather. Also, white's not color. You have to try it.
See, it's not just me countering your points.
Ow, I didn't even mean it like that. It's literally not a color, though. It's a shade.
You see, audience, it's not just us against creepypastas, it's us against ourselves.
It's not because you said it correctly, Mikey. Yeah. Cultist could have said it, I would have said the same thing.
Yep. Oh my god.
God damn it.
Go on, Mikey.
Anyway. So, at the end, it says, "You don't want to end up like Ricky here, now do you?" And I'm thinking to myself, what happened to Ricky? We never actually told what happened to Ricky.
You don't need to be. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anything. No, I can't say anything. I can't say anything.
He's basically getting off screen to death.
Well, the only thing I gathered was that he was going to be visited by La Bruja, and then he's going to disappear. And that's it.
Yep. And it's never said what happens to them. Now, generally, again, if you read enough folklore about witches and stuff like that,
I'm sure nothing nice.
Nothing nice comes of that.
He wasn't taken away and put in a giant mansion and fed and given everything for the rest of his life.
Yeah, basically, go see the movie The Witch to find out what happens to find out what happens to children who get whisked away by witches.
Mm-hmm. It's essentially like, damn, you don't want to be in the position of being in a position where you're about to be killed.
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, it doesn't actually say, but like we are kind of left at this, like it is an open-ended ending, left to assume or left to presume the fate of Ricky.
And I also feel like Ricky did nothing wrong to deserve the punishment that he got.
He's a brat.
Just for being a brat. It's like this, but honestly, I didn't put it down, but I did actually originally have a quote where it was like that, like
he's literally giving people pink eye.
He's actually hexing people with this, possibly purposefully or accidentally with the stories.
Yeah.
But no, like it's his attitude. It's very much like I actually was going to bring it up. It's like, oh, so she's like a reverse Santa Claus. She brings hell and torment to the bad children.
It says Santa Claus is Santa Morte.
Yeah. Or actually, maybe not reverse Santa. Just she's the Krampus. Because whereas the Santa brings gifts to good children, the Krampus takes the bad children.
Yeah.
The problem is that...
Just Krampus can't get to everywhere, so she does Mexico.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let Mikey speak, please.
I had to say it then, otherwise I wouldn't be able to say it at all.
All right.
The problem is that it's not tackling the root of the problem, which is the parents.
I mean, they're gonna learn.
True.
They are gonna learn.
Are they? If their kid is just taken in the night, it could have been some random person.
Okay, maybe yeah.
Yeah, they don't pay attention to him anyway.
Yeah. So really,
It's not like
Ricky's parents need to be the ones taken.
I was going to say it's not like she leaves a note saying I took him because you raised him as a bastard,
Yeah.
but she kind of does leave a note where there's a lock of his hair and something else.
Like
in
they're
there.
mine now, or something like that, or something. I can't remember what the quote, what the line is, but it is in.
But essentially, there is a calling card saying you fucked up and raised a terrible
John
child.
fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the modern interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
You done fucked up. DUN.
Yeah, no, and it is kind of you're not just picking fun at the or like picking holes at this story. You're also picking holes at cautionary tales like this in general, because like cautionary folk tales like this, a lot of them are like this, where but like for the Krampus, exactly like same thing. Like the Krampus takes away bad children, like who aren't good for Christmas and stuff like that. But how's that going to help them? Like, is it?
It's more along the lines of they can't be helped, so I'll just get rid of them.
Yeah,
They're beyond safe.
or like
so Krampus take
really
them.
like the whole point of like taking the child away isn't for the to make the child smarter or even the parents smarter. It's to warn the other bad children to don't be bad people.
Yeah, because
Or,
if you
take
fuck up, this is what's happened.
Yeah, don't be a brat. Take criticism better. Or this is going to happen to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, did we completely trample over your?
Here's the thing: we don't trample over.
I get it. I just every whenever he gets really quiet, and I'm like, do we make him?
It's like a single shooting star that goes down his face. No, yeah, it's more along the lines of he brings up something that's interesting enough that we have a lot to say about it because we didn't think about it when we were reading this.
And we're so passionate that we have to counterpoint his.
We're not counterpointing it. It's just like we're explaining why we saw it differently to him. Because us as human beings see things different than a Starfield would. It's interesting to see his view.
That's fair. All right. I just feel like sometimes we're the louder voice in this.
Well, he's also quite spoken.
Yeah, he's very quiet spoken.
All right. So,
Soft spoken, rather, is the word.
the story begins with Ricky, then switches to narrator man with his long exposition dump of the story, and I was really waiting for it to come back to Ricky. Like, roll around, back to Ricky, but no, it just goes on to that one quote that I said, you don't want to end up like Ricky here now, do you? And that's all we get with Ricky at the end. So it never comes
Essentially,
back.
he wants to see the child be murdered.
Yeah, you think that do you think that the end should be like have like a little bit more like basically like switch back to that original like perspective of Ricky and then like him hearing like a tap on the glass and the voice say the words? I could buy that. I could actually that would be cool too. I would actually like that'd be a nice alteration or a nice alternate ending to this. Is like us getting the origin story of the Bruja and her motives and her power and stuff like that, and then at the end like have it cut back to like kind of come full circle because like it is kind of like as much as I will defend the beginning like section and like how it transitions better, it really does just like go away right after that first spot and it just becomes the narrator's story.
But it's there for a reason.
It is there, yeah, as an example of like a modern version of what's happening.
Yeah,
but it would be better like if it would tie in better. I think if we did have at the end that's suddenly jump back to his perspective and him getting frustrated and like fuck it, I'm just going to bed, and then like as he's going to bed, tap tap tap, and then the Spanish of the was it Kesca or not Kesca fuck?
that's what the fuck.
It was what's wrong, child? I think is what the Spanish, the English for what the Spanish has said. And maybe not, because I think in the story, it's we get from the original child, the Spanish, and then the English translation was the modern child, and then have that just have that be Spanish in the modern time. Like, don't have the explanation of or the English translation, because it's already been mentioned what that is in the earlier story. I mean, but as a reader, you're supposed to kind of remember things in the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like that idea. Like, that it would tie the story back to, like, bring it all back around.
Yeah.
And kind of, like, tie up the loose end of Ricky.
And it doesn't even have to be an alternate ending, like the way that you worded it. It could just be a continuation of what's already there.
Yeah.
It could just be like, you don't want to be like Ricky, do you? And then all of a sudden there was a tapping at the window and
Ricky, like, turned and, like, what?
Once that opens up the window, then a hand comes in, grabs him, pulls him out. And
honestly, it just has to be the tap, tap, tap. Ricky looked, like, swiveled around in his chair, looked over, like, what? And then the dialogue of, like, what's wrong, child? And that's it. Like, that would tie it in perfectly.
Yeah, even just that one more.
Exactly, because you know what's coming. You don't have to like that. That's another thing, like, about when, like, the assumptions and stuff at the end of stories, like, that are like this, open ended, is that sometimes letting the audience think about what's going to happen, like, because, like, you lay down, like, so that they know what's going to happen next, but you don't say it. Because their mind is going to come up with much darker shit than what you can describe.
Yeah, because it could be either she shows up and uses some hexing power to make him walk over and open the window.
Yeah.
And then he comes out of the window on his own volition.
Yeah.
Like, and she takes him away, or he just falls and dies, or she literally grabs him and pulls him out screaming.
Oh, exactly.
Which is probably not the case, because they disappear, like, all of a sudden in the night.
Yeah.
No one hears it.
So they just get grabbed and, like whisked away into the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. That would definitely. Yeah. So that was a good suggestion.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is the wasps.
Okay.
To me, it's left to assume that this boy has been transporting wasps every time you see him, because he has a cart.
He is transporting wasps every time you see him, but that's only because you see him twice.
Yeah. Yeah. He only. Yeah. He was like. I think it actually does say, like, right offhandedly that, like, the kid had gotten stung by the wasp that he was carrying to take to the clergy, or, like, take to the cartel or clergy or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they were all planning from all along to break into her home and take her.
Yes.
So, like, he just has that cart on his bike for carrying things around. Yeah. It's not always carrying a wasp.
It doesn't have a sign on it that says the wasp cart.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like he found he was asked to find a wasp like hive and, like, catch it and then bring it to them.
But the issue is that as soon as you start moving wasps, they get angry.
That's why you have a burlap sack. And obviously it wasn't entirely perfect because he got stung twice.
Yeah. But he should have been stung more times, is what I'm saying. And then why didn't the clergyman get stung at all?
Because they had it tightly, like,
it was closed.
Yeah, it was closed.
It was tied. And then they, like, pulled it
out and threw it out.
Yeah.
I feel these wasps would have been way more angry.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Well, okay. Maybe you are right, because if a wasp nest is in a tree or something and you hit it with a stick, like, they're everywhere, right? How did he get away with only 2 stings?
Yeah.
Get stung twice?
Maybe he used some burning piece of grass, like a batch of grass and some of that, to smoke them, because smoking actually makes, well, at least with bees, I'm not sure with wasps, makes them docile. And
Except, depending on what you're smoking, it makes anyone docile.
No, like, legitimately, like smoke. Like,
I'm making a weed joke.
I know you are.
But yes.
Yes, thank you for frivolously. Yeah, okay. Alright, fine.
Yeah, thank you, Gamer in Green.
Thanks, yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I will take those thanks.
But yeah, okay, like, I guess, like, there could be a problem with that, but I don't see it, but okay. I just took it for, like, it's a folk story. Sure, he got the wasps because he needed to get the wasps to make this more, like, disturbing and dark. To make his betrayal all the more delicious.
But if he was stung 42 times...
Yeah.
Also, for all we know, he could be the third child that's been transporting these, because the first one is in the hospital.
Yeah, there might have been a second child that actually took. Basically, this is the kid that had the burlap sack underneath the wasp nest.
Yeah.
The other kid was down, and then the other kid just vamoosed. So that kid got off scot free, at least until the Bruja got him later.
Yeah,
or got them later. And then it's just because the reason why this kid got nabbed 3 days later is because the Bruja knew this one was the one that backstabbed her.
Yeah. It's the one that directly went, fuck you. Just handed the thing to him, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Anyway, the next thing that I have is the author actually Ricky? Because at one point it says, the story is not creepy. What do you mean it's not creepy? There's a fucking witch in the story. How's that not scary? And there is a witch in the story. So this may be a revision of a previous...
I'd actually kind of be okay with that, because that's yeah. Okay, remember we did Picture This, right?
Yeah.
Where it turned out that one was actually a serial killer that was killing people who were critiquing creepypastas, and he was writing bad creepypastas for the specific reason to have them with victims. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that one because it felt like it was basically being like don't be a piece of shit and review stories. Mm-hmm.
You just don't like that because you review stories.
Well, no,
you don't want to be murdered because of it.
Whatever. Fuck it. It's just it felt it didn't. I don't know. It might have been that one. Might have. I will fully admit that one might have just been satire. Completely like a satire on that whole idea. Mm-hmm. But to me, when I read it, it felt very it was attacking criticism. Mm-hmm. This one didn't feel like it was attacking criticism, but even though it has a similar kind of vein to it, mm-hmm. this one felt more like just a writer who doesn't take. It honestly felt like it was taking. It was kind of promoting criticism because don't be a douche and let people try and help you with your story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this one, I kind of like that idea. If this is actually Ricky telling the story,
it's quite a revelation, actually.
Or this story at the very least, from a meta view, this Killahawk 1 had this experience of being rejected a ton of times, especially for with a witch story, and then they decided to just and then they improved upon their idea. They finally got they took the criticism better and built this story and refined it and set it up, and then again it got Past of the Month for this for that month. So
mm-hmm.
Bam. I kind of like that idea though, that meta textual thing of this is based off of some personal events that happened or personal
mm-hmm.
situation.
It'd be kind of funny if there was a comment from the writer saying, "Ha, take that." Admins. How you like me now, admins?
How you like me now, son?
Yeah.
Nice.
and that's the end of my notes. Gamer in Purple?
Okay, my turn. Let's see. Well, from the start, we'll have to start at the start, which makes the most sense. So, the intro... I Google translated all the things he said because I wanted to know.
Yeah.
And all of them made me giggle in specific different ways. The first one is, "God damn it, not again," screamed Ricky after opening the much anticipated email. "Pinche pendejo," he said even louder. I translated that to "pinche asshole," which sounds weird because pinche didn't get translated.
Actually, it does.
Sounds like pinche asshole.
I actually have the same issue. It does if you put the exclamation mark in. It actually does the full translation.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why. I did the same thing though. I did oh weird. It didn't translate that. I wonder what if I translate the whole thing, including the exclamation point. The exclamation point in Google Translate gives you the full English translation.
Well, what's the first word?
I think. Fuck, I can't remember it.
Quick to Google.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was what I'm gonna do.
It's weird that just putting the exclamation point can do that.
Can you tell me the entire with that line though?
Pinchy asshole.
Spell that out.
P-I-N.
Hang on. What?
P-I-N.
Yep.
C-H-E.
Yep.
Space. P-E-N. P-E-N-D-E-J.
Click asshole. That's what it means.
Why?
Because he's saying like click asshole, like just submit kind of asshole, like just like for a story, like accept the story kind of thing.
Click asshole.
Yeah.
All right. Either way, I just found pinchy asshole as an odd exclamation to yell.
Also, click and pinche means like that makes sense because like because like pinch click. It's kind of a similar.
You're like pinching the mouse button down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
I just mean like in terms of the Spanish word, like I can kind of see like why that word means that word.
I suppose
in English.
Yes. The next one I'm going to completely butcher. I'll put it at the top of the screen. There, top of the screen. The quote.
Okay. Hijo de tu... Yeah.
You're awesome at it.
Yeah. Hijo de tu puta madre. Okay, I can't do it.
Sure, that's better than I would do. It's fine. Either way,
Yeah.
he picked up his expensive mouse and threw it against the wall. That translated to son of your fucking mother.
Yep.
And, I mean, aren't we all? Aren't we all sons of a mother who has partaken in some fadoodling in their time?
Fadoodling? Is that really a word?
From 1611. That's a term.
Are you fucking serious?
Very recent, yes, fadoodling.
Fadoodling.
I will be using that in my...
we gotta use that more often, damn. That's a fun slang.
I know, right? I have more. Awesome. The next one is Besa mi culo puto. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Is it for saying? I'm not. I don't pretend to know Spanish. I know the inflections of some of the words.
Okay, fine. You can read it again. It's at the bottom this time.
Okay. Bésame culo puto. Or bésame culo puto.
Sure. Yes.
Again, I could be completely butchered.
Oh, I'm sure we both are.
And I apologize to our Spanish-speaking listeners.
We didn't take the time to learn Spanish in between the episodes.
Spanish was not taught. Was not a mandatory second language for us. It was French.
Yeah.
So
Can we even take that in high school? I don't remember.
I think it was a really advanced course.
It must have been, because I just remember French.
I know. I've talked to some of our American buddies.
Yeah.
Or one of my American buddies. And apparently they do have French, Spanish as second languages that you can learn. And they weren't like advanced things. Yeah, I remember in our high schools, like French was like you have to like take that course
at least once
in grade 9 and some of that. But I remember Spanish being like almost like one of those like really like you have to have like really good marks in like something else in order to actually get into that elective.
No, I guess.
Also in high school, like as kids, like except unless you're like really academically inclined, like you just took whatever they gave you.
Pretty much.
Generally, they never gave you that one.
Also, I wish I took more French because second language would be
remember,
awesome.
you know, oddly enough, I remember in our high school we were given the option more to learn German than Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. I think that might have been because we did actually have several years where we had like German transfer students that came in. So, but yeah, like it was weird. Like I don't remember Spanish like coming up a lot in any of the electives and stuff. But
more of an American thing, and
yeah.
Either way,
yeah.
So he says that exclamation. He slammed his fist down, shattering the tricked out top of the line gaming keyboard, and that translates to "kiss my ass." Fucking. There's a comma in between.
Yeah.
So, this could be taken two different ways.
Kiss my ass, fucking.
As either kiss my ass while I partake in some horizontal refreshment with another individual.
Horizontal refreshment? Is that another, like, a slang?
From 1863, yes.
Did you just go online looking for, like...
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Or as kiss my ass fucking if you take out the comma. As in, kiss my deed of misguided targeting while joining giblets. So this is really a grammar-related discrepancy.
Yeah, really, you should have just left it.
Yeah. And joining giblets is from 1680s.
Oh, God. Joining giblets. God damn.
You're welcome. Everyone add those to your your working
nothing,
vocabulary.
I'm sorry, but nothing really beats
Fadoodling. I know, that's why I led with it.
Fadoodling is just hilarious.
Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah. It is amazing how swear words, like...
It's not a swear word.
Yeah, or how slang evolves, though.
Yeah. So weird.
Doodling.
I think the earliest one I saw on the list was...
You fadoodler.
Was like... giving her the green dress.
Oh, God.
I don't understand that one at all. It just sounds weird.
Yeah, I don't... Oh. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, everything that I try to think of just keeps coming, like, gonorrhea. Or
I know,
like,
it's not nice
not pleasant at all.
No.
Like, I don't... No, I'm not looking... Stop.
Don't look into
Stop
it.
thinking about it.
Stop.
Anyway, continue.
Okay. So after all of this, after narrator man has his tantrum, I'm just thinking, so you just broke your top-of-the-line keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I really hope this tantrum is worth the $400 you just broke.
I mean, he's probably a brat. Like, he's probably a rich, like, brat, too. So.
Yeah, that's true. At this point, I didn't know he was super rich and spoiled, so... But that's an expensive tantrum.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. Then moving on, this is in regards to the message that he's reading. The message was topped with a large header of white font that stood in contrast to the black background. Right there, the two hated words that said story deletion. Or as I would say, or rather as Strong Bad would say, deleted!
Okay.
Super old reference.
Yeah.
Strong Bad email, spring cleaning, go!
And yet kind of topical with regards to their board game that they've come out with.
I know, right? Frogdoor, the board game. Back it on Kickstarter.
It's at the point of this posting, it will definitely be.
Oh yeah,
past
totally.
that
Yeah,
point, but yeah,
we should do a actual play of Frogdoor, the board game. Why not? Why?
Because we want to terminate.
Frogdoor.
If you can,
Because
find,
he comes in the
let me
night.
tell you. Okay,
That's
fine.
why.
If you can find Gamer and Plaid, if you can find me a Trogdor creepypasta, then we will do an actual play of Trogdor the board game.
All right.
Yeah. That's how that will work.
Okay, I will take that deal. Okay. I will find it. If I can't find it, I will write it. Because I want to play that board game.
All right.
Either way, moving on.
And that's my notes.
No. All right. So after explaining that he's a horrible writer, I think this is the narrator, cat, man thing.
The narrator. Yeah.
Yeah. Narrator's explaining that he's terrible and they always delete his work and stuff. The quote is, "The tantrum builds, and his cheeks turn red as he screams out loud. Why would they not listen to me? They never give me a chance." I think a more apt line would be, "Why, creepypasta.wiki, why? Please read my stories, please. You're a part of my life. You were everything to me. You're lying. You never read them. You're tearing me apart, creepypasta.wiki."
I should think you're tearing me apart, Wikia!
Yeah. I just used the entire name. But it really felt that it's that sort of thing where like he's trying real hard and he's like, terrible. Because it says that specifically because it says the tantrum builds and he's screaming out loud, but there's no exclamation point on that.
God.
So it's essentially him screaming out loud saying, "Why would you not listen to me? They never give me a chance."
Yeah.
Like he's doing that super chill tantrum that Tommy Wiseau does.
Yeah, it's like they never give me a chance. I hate them and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But he still does care. Yeah. I was going to use that quote, but he does care. So that wouldn't be very apt. And then my last note that I made note of is eventually Ricky turned that frustration outwards upon those who were weaker and less capable of standing up for themselves.
Yeah.
For every insult, every slight, and every time he did not get what he wanted, he inflicted that rage back upon the innocent bystanders 10 times over. He terrorized all the children within his sight. And thus begins the story of Ricky Ortega, or Ricky O.
Yeah,
this is how he gets a superpower.
It was basically at that point that I realized that Ricky is not a redeemable character because he's basically just. Oh, I mean, he could be a redeemable character, but all right, this is the point where like yeah, he's kind of getting what's coming to him because he's actually like he's not only a spoiled brat, he's also a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because he's not getting his way.
But it literally just kind of sounds like he's going to become some super kung fu master.
I don't want him to become a kung fu master because, like,
no,
Ricky O wasn't like a bad guy.
No, not at all.
In Ricky O.
I really just wanted to make a Ricky O reference.
I know you did.
I had to find a Spanish O last name, so it's actually his name, Ricky O.
Fair, just okay.
Yeah. You're welcome. And that is the end of my notes.
Okay. So final thoughts.
Yes.
So, really, for me, the story is a neat folkloric ghost story, like in terms of the themes of it, and told from the perspective of the monster's servant. And the monster gets an origin that is both tragic and creepy. So, I'd recommend. Like, really simple. Just I liked the story. I do agree that like the maybe a little bit more of a wraparound, like a little add-on at the back would give a little
Just
bit
like
more
one or
wraparound.
two more lines.
But honestly, like as I read the story, I was like, it was a good story, so I totally recommend it. Mikey, do you sense real?
Sort of on your lines. It's a neat origin story for a monster. Although I don't really understand why the sack under the bed to summon them.
I think it's another folkloric thing, like to do. I'm not going to pretend to know like 100% because I haven't researched what that means.
It has to
but
be.
It's something. Yeah, it's something to do with like focusing her on like certain people. So I think the servitor probably got in there somehow, either like magically or just like broken, like snuck in.
He's a cat.
Yeah, it might be a cat, or it might be some kind of like special form, or it might be just like good at like sneaking into people's places and stuff.
A ninja.
Yeah, and like snuck it in there, and then actually no, it would be ninja in Spanish.
Oh, what is?
Well, jalapeno is
Jalapeno.
Yeah, so it would be jalapeno. So the J is H.
That's true.
So it would be ninja.
That's cool. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm so sorry, our Spanish listeners.
You should be. I'd be sorry too.
But anyway, yeah, no, I think it might be like a folklore thing. It isn't explained in the story, but
It honestly, if you think about it, it sort of is a tiny bit because it's got to be some sort of reference to the sack that was thrown into her coffin.
That's true. Yeah, or that, or even the one the sack that she had on her person, or even the one that she left as the calling card for. Maybe what happens is that she that sack is left there to like basically mark the person that she's going after.
Yeah,
and then she takes a piece of their hair, puts it in the pouch, and then so when it's found, it has the message and stuff like that.
Oh, she cuts the hair?
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
or literally
partially
just
mentioned in the story, but again, to me, it felt very folkloric or very occultish. So therefore,
did it actually say that the bag was put under there to mark the child, or
I think it doesn't say directly, but it kind of insinuates that they did that to put Ricky on the target.
Because for all we know, Narita Man and
Bruja.
The Bruja could just be kind of walking around, and then it's like, oh yeah, get that guy. So okay.
Yeah.
So just remember, I lost one of my notes.
He did say the boy went to sleep or went to go to sleep, unbeknownst under his pillow was the sack.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So it's So I think it was just again, it's an occult means of targeting him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So.
Yeah, and then the wasps also only conveniently act like wasps when they need to.
Okay. Agree to disagree on that.
Why?
There should be more stinging of that kid.
We already told you. It was a 2-man effort.
Yeah. We went at length about it. Just agree to disagree.
Well, not really, because he didn't.
It's not going to his opinion. If he thinks that that's going to be that's the case, then that's the case for him.
Oh, so. I know. And I'm not going to try to change his opinion.
Yeah.
It's just odds are 90% of the stings went to the kid that had the stick that knocked it down into the sack.
But wasps don't target people with sticks. They target the person nearest to them.
I don't know.
And
they're agitated.
And they fell into the burlap sack, which was then sealed
And then that
as
kid
best as
ran
the
away.
kid could. And then as he was driving the cart with his bike down the road, like past the Curandera, the Curandera. I couldn't. Sorry, that word is just like
one got out and
Curandera. The sack loosened, allowing one or two, probably one or two wasps to come out, and they took a little bit of revenge on the kid.
You see, the two kids tactically planned this, okay? And as soon as he knocked it down, the kid grabbed it, ran away, and then the kid with the stick started swinging, flailing at the other ones to pull
out into the creek right next to the tree.
No, he had to pull aggro first, you see, by swinging the stick at all of them. So then that guy could get away, and then he jumped into the river.
Okay, no, because cutting the wasp nest was all fine. Nobody was bugging it, so it wasn't gonna there was no
We're going on a length.
I know, I don't mean to, but it's and then
I just laid out a tactical plan.
Yeah, okay, fine. Go ahead. No. It's there was no swarm or no real wasp threat outside of the nest until it was cut down, and by that point it was already in the burlap sack and then it was sealed. And then it was on the ride past the Curandera's house was when one of them got loose. The bag got loose and one of them got out.
But you're saying that they did it so fast, that none of them got out until he
exactly yes. That's
until he was. It was all in there already.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll roll with that.
But again, if you think otherwise,
the problem with your theory is that if one got out, they all got out.
Not necessarily.
Wasps go through the tiniest of holes. If there's one, they all go out it.
Well, we also caught the kid when he was on the ground already, freaking out about the sting. So he might have seen oh shit, there's one or two trying to get out. Oh shit, he stopped his bike really quickly, sealed it up. But at that point, there was a couple still out, so we got stunned twice, and that's where that whole happened. It was fate. It was just. They even say in the story it was fate that brought the kid by the Curandera. I'm so sorry. Yeah. The Curandera's.
That's why I've been avoiding saying it. The good witch.
House, the good witch's house. Just fucking do that for the rest.
It's almost over.
Yeah, exactly. What brought them past her, even though the fact that he was going to backstab her, she still helped him, unbeknownst to what was planned for her. So you just got to take some fate on that one.
I will agree. You probably should have been stung more though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, yeah, and I'm just gonna.
But it didn't bother. It didn't bother me enough to care.
Yeah.
So okay, half recommendation for me.
Okay,
because of the stinging.
Yes,
specifically because of the stinging.
Okay, well, and the ending because
the ending
you wanted more,
and the other issue that we've already gone on the bomb that. Nobody else agrees with me, so I'm not going to bring it up again.
Okay, fair.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Game in Red.
That'd be me. So, well, there's one note I forgot to mention because I wrote it down as a title thing.
You bastard.
I wrote it in the title section. Because before I even read it, I'm like, La Bruja.
Yeah.
I know that from somewhere. So, this may, before I even read it, I'm like, this may be a creepypasta about the anarchist vampire clan that's in Vampire the Masquerade, the Bruja. They're literally called the same thing, just with an H on the end.
But it's only because Masquerade just took a bunch of vampire-like names for their vampire stuff.
Yeah. Also, that is weird knowing that means witch.
Yeah.
Because they're not witches.
I mean,
they're all magical, but them specifically calling themselves.
I'd have to look at do some research on La Bruja specifically to see if
they're anarchists.
No, I mean the actual the witches, the mythological or the folkloric thing. Because they're witches, but there's sometimes also because it's Mexico. There's also they could also have vampiric ties or vampiric qualities. Mm-hmm. But I don't know 100%. So that's why. But also White Wolf for the guys who did World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade just used it because it's a cool sounding name for vampire.
I'm pretty sure they pronounce it Bruja as well or something like that.
Damn them!
That
is so horrible too.
I don't remember how they pronounce it.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be Bruja,
well, the witch word, yes.
Yeah, but Bruja. God damn.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
It's been a long time. I could be wrong. But either way, the story itself, I enjoyed it pretty much all the way through. None of these problems really bugged me. So, overall, I'm going to recommend it.
Okay.
Because I liked it. The ending I didn't immediately have a problem with, because normally I hate assuming things, but it was said earlier that the kid was taken in the night.
Yeah, it's very
so
much
this kid is going to be taken in the night.
It's very strongly like you already have that in your head. So when
Yeah.
that happens, when it leaves you open ended like that, it's not so much open ended as it's like it's more or less it's leaving the description of his fate to you.
Or you just
Not so
connect
much
the ties to what was
Exactly,
said earlier,
And then you're going to think of something much worse than what the writer could write.
Yeah. That being said, I would be fine with one extra line or two at the end to explain it a little bit. I didn't have a problem with it switching from first person to third person.
Yeah.
This was one of the times where it actually kind of worked. Where
Yeah,
other times it might just be confusing and all that, so...
Yeah.
I get why it was picked as Creepypasta of the Month, because it is good. I enjoyed it, so recommendation.
All right, so that's this week's episode. If you liked what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, where this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. We're on Twitter. Mikey is at The E Stands for Evil, and I'm at Review Cultist. The Gamer in Mauve is at Gamer in Yellow, oddly enough, at on Xbox Live.
Yes.
And you can also leave us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can also send us reviews and ratings on iTunes or any other streaming site you get this from. Every little bit helps. And if you want to check out the title cards for each episode, go to crazonstudios.tumblr.com, crazon.deviantart.com, or the YouTube channel, Al Dente Rigamortis, where you can check out the videos of each episode. And if you would like to help support the show, you go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis, select the backer tier you'd like to support us at, and we have early access episodes, so Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. We have special episodes like Al Dente Real Talk, Actual Play Rigamortis, which is where we actually play games based loosely off of creepypastas or spooky tales and stuff like that.
Trogdor.
I guess, maybe.
When I write that story.
If you write that story, or if you find one, yes.
Yeah.
We also have special episodes from my other co-hosts that I'm not a part of, such as
Al Dente Reloaded at the $5 tier, where Mikey and I go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly pastas that the cultists and the doctor did, and see what our thoughts are on them, without listening to their own thoughts. And then Al Dente Revelations at the $2 tier, where Mikey and I, again, continue with our thoughts that we had in Reloaded by listening to the old episodes that you guys did and see what you guys said conversely to us and possibly have a mind-breaking revelation while doing so.
All right, cool. And for those of you that are patrons already, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of all creepypastas that we've done on the show, thank you immensely. You provided us with stories to read and enjoy, and then for the show, and honestly, we wouldn't have the show without the stories or with the listeners. So, thank you immensely. And so, until next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Amber. Wait, no. Mauve. No. Magenta. Baby blue. No. Teal. Yeah, teal.
All right. And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Maybe cyan. I don't know.
Yep, I'm right in front of it. It's right here, Ray. I'm looking at it. Ghostbusters.
I haven't seen it in so long. Oh my god. I was immediately going to be like, I have no idea what that's from.
Wow.
And I didn't.
We need to watch that Ghostbusters apparently.
Probably.
And drill it into your head.
Yeah.
You will know all the Ghostbusters references.
But I don't wanna.
Too bad.
I'll take up space for my Warframe references, and my
Oh,
South
God.
Park references.